The perfect relationship is knowing that you are the face of God. That every face you look into is the face of God. That there's only one of us here. Beautifully, magnificently expressing in this incredible diversity of form. The face of God is the only face here. So how do we relate to that? Words are funny. Words are funny. Relationship is defined as that communication, how we actually interact with something. Perfection, ask any 10 people, you'll get 10 different definitions. Because we all have a different idea of what perfection is. I think the quickest way we get to it, Ernest Holmes said, and I don't have the exact reference, I'm still looking for it. It has been said that we can know God only in as far as we become God. We can only know God in as far as we become it. And that's simply a journey of inner awareness. Because if we are made from it, by it, to be it, the only place to find it is inside. And when I find that, I got a much better shot at finding it in you. If I judge you by the standard I've judged myself throughout my lifetime, we are all in a world of hurt. Because I think we are probably hardest on ourselves than anybody is on us. I heard a phrase years ago in the rooms of recovery that if anybody else on this planet treated me the way I treated me, I'd probably be in jail for how I've dealt with that person. And yet we treat ourselves, we mistreat ourselves day in and day out. And what is that about? It's about mental conditioning. It's about all the messages that we've absorbed for as many days as we've been on this planet. Because we get here, I mean, watch babies. They're really clear who they are. They laugh. They're amazed at creation. Never once have I seen an infant go, not so much. Not so much. Now, I've seen them go, I'm going to figure you out a little bit before I come over there. And that teaches me that I have an inner beacon of discernment from the get-go. Every living creature that has the ability to avoid physical harm does so. And so that was born in us. Hooray! That stops us from literally walking into walls repeatedly. Because if we didn't have that discernment, we'd just walk into a wall, back up, get a better start. Now, maybe it's only me, but I have a pretty good history of doing that emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I've run up against a wall, and instead of trying to understand the wall and reconcile it, I just get further back and get up more momentum when I hit it and wonder why it hurts worse. I'm practicing, I'm doing this. Why is this? Why am I bouncing further back every time? Maybe it's just me. I can entertain that. When I understand my relationship with the wall, then I understand there's nothing to run into. I've shared this before, and it's one of my favorites. Rumi. Our job is not to create more love, but to seek out and remove the barriers that we've created against it. The perfect relationship is love. And how many barriers have we created against it? How many of us have spent our whole lives building a dam that blocks our flow of love? When someone does something that we don't like, we put a brick in the dam. I'll love you if. I'll love you when. Block after block after block. Experience after experience. What we're actually doing is building a dam. And it stops the flow of love. The charge before us every single breath is to love one another the way we're loved. At no point in creation has the divine ever said, I will love you if, I will love you when. It simply loves us, no matter what. Think about all of the choices you've made in your life, all of the intentions, and all of the impact of those intentions, often unintended. And where did the divine stop loving you? Never. And we know it hasn't stopped loving us because we're still here. If the divine were to withdraw one drop of its love, all this would stop. Because love is what we are, it's what we're made out of, it's what sustains all of creation. So the fact that creation is still here tells us there has been no withdrawal of love. There's no barrier created against it. And yet, here we are doing this human dance, trying to love one another, oftentimes as if we're, if you've ever watched a steeplechase, steeplechases are when human beings get on a track and they jump over barriers and they run through water and they do all of these things to get to a finish line. And it's difficult. And how much more quickly and how much easier would it be if, as they're coming, somebody removed those barriers out of the way? So instead of having to jump over something or climb up and scale down, they just run straight through unimpeded. That's what's available to us. We don't have to run a steeplechase every day. We can actually take the time to come up to that barrier and look at it and embrace it and ask it, what are you here to teach me? What do I need to know so that tomorrow morning when I get up, you're not here? I appreciate what you're here to teach me, and really, I'm done. One of the folks from Santa Rosa posted a meme on Facebook the other day that just was so profound. I'm tired of things building my character and not killing me. And I could so totally relate to it. It's like, enough of the character building already. And we get to choose when that character building stops. We got to stop blaming one another for the barriers that we've created against love. Because the minute I blame somebody else for my barrier, I am completely powerless to do anything about it. It's like I'm driving down the road of life and I come to a barrier and I imagine it as if it's your vehicle parked crossways in my road and you have the keys to it and you're gone. So I'm just stuck. Now, if it's my vehicle blocking the road and I have the keys, Well, now I get to move it whenever I want, whenever I choose to. And I think what gets in our way is we don't know what's on the other side of the vehicle. The vehicles blocking my path are semis. I can't see a thing past them. If they were bicycles, and I could see what's over there, I'd be a whole lot more likely to move the bicycle. But I've gotten comfortable in my stuff. I get a lot out of Facebook. I know people have issues with it, but there's a lot of profound stuff on Facebook. Deborah actually posted one the other day, this little meme, and it's a figure, two figures sitting at a table having a conversation. One figure is named Growth, the other figure is named Comfort. And Growth is talking to Comfort and saying, I just don't think this relationship is going to work out. If we want to grow, we got to get out of our comfort zone. Because if I stay comfortable, this is as good as it gets. Now, maybe it's just me, but I want a whole lot more than this. I mean, today is amazing. I am so incredibly filled with joy that it blows my mind. And it tells me there's more. And so, if I can stand it to be this good, maybe, just maybe, I can stand it to be even better. Can you wrap your mind around that? That we limit ourselves to how good life can be. And so how does that relate to the perfect relationship? Everything that I do in here, I give it to you. See, if I'm limited, you can only be as great as I will let me be. Because if you outshine me, not cool. And so I got to bring you down to my level so I feel okay about me. That's what we do in this human journey until we learn to do it differently. What would it be like if we actually related to one another from a place of complete celebration? The absence of jealousy. The absence of poor me, I don't have what you have. Because we do that a lot. You know, we see somebody who's being wildly successful in their life, and instead of celebrating them, well, they only have it because they grew up with a trust fund, and you know, we start bringing them down because we don't know how to just say, "Wow, what an amazing life! What did you do to create that?" See, if we would take the time to inquire, then, instead of spending all of our time learning from one another's mistakes, what if we spent our time learning from one another's successes? And learning that maybe, just maybe, that person that is wildly successful spent a whole lot of time in the steeplechase. Because mostly they did. And they refused to give up. They learned how to navigate the steeplechase. They learned how to relate to life in a different way. Instead of, okay, well, this is as far as I get to go. This is my station in life. This must be my lot in life. What if we saw something beyond that? What if we went back to this? We can know God only as much as we become God. And instead of focusing on the outcome, begin to focus on our input. What are we putting into the mix? with one another. Here's the good news and the bad news. I'll give you the bad news first. Everything that irritates you in someone else is you. There is no way to have an experience of irritation with someone else that isn't in you. Because there's only one of us here. And so what we see in other people is because it's in us. Now, the good news is all of the greatness that you see in other people and all of the things that you celebrate, that you admire, that's in you too. Which one are you focused on? Because we have the choice. We can do the nobody loves me, everybody hates me, and me open my can of worms for the day. I used to have a pantry, worms in every flavor. It must have been because I ate so many of them that it was like just the daily thing. Get up, eat my worms, go about my day. We get to do it differently. And we get to do it differently with one another. And when we blow it, and we will, we will. Okay? We will say things and do things and watch them come out of our mouth. It's like, no. And there's that moment of, that was out loud, wasn't it? Now, we can be in integrity in our relationships and clean it up. Or we can just, well, they had it coming. Maybe it's just me. Okay. Or we can justify and rationalize all the reasons why we did it. Or we can go back to that table with comfort and growth and recognize that that relationship's probably not going to work out and step out of our comfort zone and take ownership. That, you know what? I'm growing and I blew it and I apologize. And be with that. Regardless of how that other person responds. Because you're not doing it to get something. You're doing it to give something. To give love. To be love. The Bible says that God makes it rain on all alike. So think about the person that you love the most unconditionally. Get how that feels in your body for just a minute. And then think of the person that when you think about that person, you wish they weren't even on the planet. And imagine giving the love that you give to that person, that you cherish, to that person you can't stand. That's our job as spiritual warriors. That's our job as becoming the Christ consciousness that is born into us. To love on all alike. To stop being confused by one another's behavior. To stop being confused by what comes out of one another's mouth. To stop running around writing fashion citations in our mind. And embrace one another's creativity that doesn't match our own. To learn to appreciate the person in the fast food drive-thru that feeds you when you're hungry with equal love and respect and admiration for the surgeon that saves your life. Because they're both necessary in that moment. And if we take off all the qualifiers, then what? if we take the time to look one another eye to eye and really know in that moment that it is the eyes of the divine looking into the eyes of the divine. Period. No discussion. No ifs, ands, or buts. That the love that creation gives me to look beyond all of my human stuff and not to love me anyway, because there is no anyway. There's just love. Not because, not if, not and, not anyway. Imagine that. Just love. And how that would change how you relate to yourself in life. That thing about building the dam, the person that suffers most from that lack of flow is you. Because the divine is just giving and giving and giving. And while we think we're building those walls between us and someone else, we're actually building that wall between us and the divine. And why in the world would we deprive ourselves of something so precious and so magnificent that when we feel it, that's all we feel? In those moments where we truly connect with the love of creation, I defy you to feel anything other than love. I defy you to start your day in a meditation, prayer, whatever works for you, until you feel what that is inside of you, and then go have a bad day. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. If we would start our day in the love affair with the divine, embracing what it is and how we relate to it, and open ourselves to more, that I'm going to spend this day recognizing the divine in every element of creation that I meet. That I'm inviting this day to be a day where all of the barriers that I've created against that unrestricted flow of love, show me, so that I can remove them. And what I want you to know is you don't have to remove them with a hammer and a saw. We don't have to beat them out of our path. We can just go, thank you for what you came here to teach me. I get it. And you're gone now. Because when we spend time fighting with it, we're feeding it. We're making it stronger than it needs to be. Hopefully this is still up in my phone where I queued it up, because I want to end with this Rumi. There it is. Love is reckless. Love is reckless, not reason. Reason seeks a profit. Love comes on strong, consuming herself unabashed. Yet in the midst of suffering, love proceeds like a millstone, hard-surfaced and straightforward. Having died of self-interest, she seeks everything and asks for nothing. Love gambles away every gift God bestows. Without cause, God gave us being. Without cause, give it back again. Let's take this into prayer. How good it is to recognize the one, the infinite. This glorious, amazing love that only knows one relationship with its creation, and that is love itself. That only knows giving freely, unrestrictedly to its creation, with complete abandon. No criteria for receiving it. It just gives, creating out of itself into itself. This is my life. All that I am is it in form. All that I have ever been is it in form. And what is true of me is true of all. Because we are each and every one created out of the one. Exquisitely individualized to express a unique brilliance that is uniquely ours. And so I speak my word in this moment, claiming and affirming that all of the barriers that we have created against seeing our magnificence simply fade away in the brilliant and bright light of love. That all of the barriers that we've created against one another are those same barriers. And so as I remove them from me, I remove them from seeing you. And I remove them from me seeing the brilliance of God expressing as me. Grateful to know that there's no waiting period. That there's no school that I have to go to qualify to know the God in me. That was born there. It can't be enhanced. It can't be removed. And the very thought of that is the essence of joy within my being. And so in that gratitude and in that joy of knowing a wholeness beyond whole, a love beyond love, a relationship so perfect that I can't leave it alone. I release my word into that activity of love and law that has already said yes, only knows yes, and loves through its yes. And I invite you to join me in anchoring this and making it your own as we say together. And so it is.